is a prototype version of vSphere 6. It's a very recent build. It's called Phase 10, and this is a build that's installed by our QA team as we're basically testing Clustered ONTAP and our vendor provider against this latest prototype build from VMware. So let's take a very quick look at our setup. So we have Clustered ONTAP nodes provisioning a VM volume data store, and we'll see some of the information about this guy. We'll see that it's type VVOL and it has a certain size. We can see the connectivity to the host. There's just a couple of hosts here, and we'll be able to see protocol endpoint information and things like that. So these are actually provisioned as a SAN connected data store. We're also working on NFS connected data stores as well. So VM volumes give me a very rich way to define the VM granular management, so I can state what type of storage are required at virtual disk level and what characteristics are required for that. So whether it's on a certain storage type, performance guarantees, whether it's on a replicated storage, whether I have things like deduplication turned on. I can do that at a virtual disk level, but to make that easy, I can set those and create VM storage policies. So what I'm going to do here is create a policy. I'm going to create this for enterprise storage. I'll give that a name so I can easily determine what that is by its name. And I'm going to create a rule set for this, and I'm going to choose the NetApp vendor provider, and that will expose a rich set of capabilities through this is Clustered ONTAP. I have a rich set of capabilities here. I can define whether this has high availability, whether I'm going to be replicating the storage, whether I need a certain RPO for disaster recovery, all the way through things like disk types, whether it's SAS, SSD, SATA, whether I have deduplication turned on, I'm using flash pool or flash cache, the protocol, or whether I want to set things like maximum throughput limits in either IOPS or megabytes a second. So that will give me an ability to set maybe some storage policy for my less important virtual machines. So that's where I could maybe cap the IOPS those virtual machines could ever drive. That way I can put less important virtual machines in the same shared storage pool as my mission critical machines, where I don't want to throttle the I/O of maybe Exchange services or Oracle databases, but I do want to make sure my web servers, for example, never go above, let's say, 10,000 IOPS for those services. Anyway, so let's create our capabilities for our enterprise. I'm going to pick high availability replication. I'm going to turn deduplication on. Let's enable all of those. We'll go through, we'll find matching resources where we're ready to complete. So let's create our profile here, and we'll see that we've created a profile. So what I could do actually is highlight this guy and edit it. I can bring up the rule set again, and I could add new capabilities as I've cared to do so. But I was good with the ones we set there. So let's create a second storage policy. This one I'm going to call value. Again, I'm going to create a rule set, and I'm going to use the NetApp vendor provider to expose the capabilities. So here I'm going to set deduplication because I want to make sure this is using as little storage as I can. And I'm also going to set some IOPS limits. So I'm going to say 1000 IOPS is going to be the limits for these virtual machines. Let's go through that, and let's create our value. Okay, so now we have two storage policies, enterprise and value. And let's move on and see how we actually use that when we're provisioning virtual machines.